Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Chris Flowers, executive producer of the Biz Coach Show, and I am on with Eric T. Whitmore, the founder and CEO of My Biz Coaches. Coach, what is up, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Just getting ready for Thanksgiving, getting ready to hand make some raviolis, man.
There you go. A little T-Day action, right?
you know, gotta keep my kids honest too. I have them do all the rolling of the dough. So,
Oh, there you go. There you go.
old
Hey,
school.
there's. I was going to say there's some valuable life skills developed there, right?
You got that right. Hey, you know what? You like I said, teach somebody to fish, they'll never starve, right?
That's right. That's right. Hey, oh, you know what? And you got some good quality football to be watching too, right?
Yeah, like I said, I'm happy Detroit's doing a whole lot better because we have something to watch. And God knows the Cowboys are probably going to get their ass kicked, but which is always a good thing. That's the gift that keeps on giving right there. So
That is, especially in your division, right?
yeah, well, not like the Giants are going to get themselves out of the dumpster fire that they're in, but it is what it is.
Good deal.
All
So
right,
what are we
man.
talking
So
about today?
we're going to be talking about budget-friendly marketing strategies for solopreneurs and small business owners.
Nice.
All right. We got 5 cost-effective marketing strategies and detailed action steps for execution, which you are the master of, my friend. So we're going to go into step number 1 here. We're going to leverage social media and organic growth.
Yeah. So social media, you know what? It's funny because I think social media gets a bad rap.
It does.
A lot of people disregard social media, particularly. I've said this many times on the show before. There's a line in the sand when it comes to age about people who are adapting some of the technology and those who are not. And it seems to be over 45 typically are a little bit more less receptive to the technology, the video work, the things that are getting done on social media, the social media channels in general. And those under 45 are very adaptive to it. And so the truth of the matter is, if you're in a business that straddles those age brackets and you want to capture some of that business, particularly if you want to capture somebody under the age of 45, you need to adapt social media, right? You and I both know that the channel growth for both of our channels has come by leveraging social media and putting the video, reels that we put out from the show and putting them out on social media.
Correct.
Right.
Definitely.
I think one of the things that people have a tendency to forget about social media specifically, and if you do it correctly, it's really kind of evolved into more of a video piece than just posting a picture and putting a meme on it, right? Yeah, there's some of that, sure, and there's something to be said for that. And I still appreciate. I get the daily quote of the day and stuff like that. I actually like that, but video is more engaging. And what people have a tendency to forget, in my opinion, is that you can leverage the video just like a commercial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You and I grew up in a day of infomercials, right? The 80s and 90s were all about infomercials, right?
Oh yeah.
And the production cost for an infomercial was thousands, even $5,000-$10,000 to produce an infomercial. Now you can do it with a iPhone, right? Or an Android. You can do it with a phone. You can put the video together. The quality is relatively good. It's good enough for what we're using it for, and you can put it on social media. And voila, you have a commercial.
Absolutely. So, what I really appreciate was you, because even like I said, I was kind of straddling the fence there myself. I was good on like LinkedIn and Instagram and things like that, but you were one. Hey, you got to get on TikTok, man. And I was like, and I was even resistant. I was like, oh man, but you, like I said, yeah, I'm glad you talked me into it because I've gotten a lot of good feedback. I've gotten followers and things like that just from and I liked how when you put it to me was that you told me, say, hey, everybody 35 and under uses TikTok like they use Google. Okay.
Yeah.
That's their Google. But also think about it from a customer standpoint. Yeah, maybe some people that are on there are a little bit younger and things like that now, which is true. But eventually they are going to get older. Right. And you want to, refresh your customer base because I know listen, a lot of people even out there in like hair salons, like, I know they cater to elderly people. Those people die. So there goes your customer base. So yeah, when you got to check the obituaries and your appointment book and see if there are, see if your appointments are going to show up, that's a problem. Okay, you may want to go after some younger clients. When I was working at Morgan Stanley, I would joke with those guys all the time because they were like, because it was all I saw was oxygen tanks and walkers walking. I'm like, you want to get some younger clients or what, man?
Right. No, it's a valid point. And honestly, it's one that people don't talk about, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
you may have grown your business over the last 10, 15 years, 20 years, whatever, and not really needed to adapt some of these things. But the truth of the matter is, if you want to sustain the next 5 or 10 years, and I will tell you the biggest thing, and you've heard me say this before, as it relates to technology specifically, right? Not just social media, but technology and the way it's evolving in AI and quantum computing. You take those things, kind of combine those all. This is going to accelerate at a rapid pace. It's not like,
Yeah.
like I think back to the 80s and we had laser disc and the DVDs.
Yep. Yep.
Right. And it was like you waited 5 years before you were invest in one or the other because you wanted to see which one was going to last and which one was going to die out. Right. And then we had, that evolved in the 90s. There was some other things that kind of played out and like, okay, was it this one or is that you even had that with computers? You had IBM and you had Apple. Right. But which one's going to win out? Well, in the end, they both won out. They're still here today, right? And the truth of the matter is that technology is not going to go away. It's going to just evolve and it's going to get better. And we're going to come to market with things faster and quicker. And what's going to happen is if you aren't adapting, regardless of the business you do, you're going to set yourself up for failure, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so we want to get back out. We want to get back on track for social media. We want to make sure that
Yep,
we're leveraging social media.
So we talk about, use it. Well, so one, I kind of touched it on already, but I said, we're utilizing a free source here, right? There's a free opportunity to create a commercial. That's a huge opportunity to build awareness about your product. And that's, don't confuse yourself. That's all a commercial is brand awareness. You can't make somebody buy something on a commercial, right? Maybe an infomercial where you have time to really introduce your product or solution, which, by the way, you can do that with a video, right? So there's so much opportunity here. So a couple of key things about being successful with social media specifically. The first one is make sure that your bio is up to par, right? So updated headshots, updated contact information, making sure that you have a link where people can go and find you and find the information they need to find about you. Make sure that you're using keywords. That's one of the missed opportunities that we had early on as far as building out the channel, right? For us, specifically with My Biz Coach Show or the Biz Coach Show, is that we didn't have all of those things lined up on the back end, behind our profiles to get the leverage that we should get from the keywords, using the keywords to get more people seeing our content. Okay. Not just video, but on your social media platforms too, right? The other one is having a content plan and, make sure, one, you need to be consistently posting whatever channel you're on at least 3 to 5 times a week. Once a week does not cut it on any platform. At least 3 to 5 times a week. And that's on a slow platform like a LinkedIn where it doesn't, you can do once a day on a LinkedIn and do that, 5 times a week with Monday through Friday. I would encourage you, and I've seen a lot of people that I spend a lot of time following, they're even doing it on the weekends. And they're cleaning up on the weekends because nobody else is posting on the weekends. Okay. So something else to consider, doing it 7 days a week, right? And make sure it's both informational and educational as well as entertaining. If there's not some conversation that draws people in and keeps them around, if it's just content and you're dry with the content, that you're going to drive people away. They're only going to keep a small percentage of people. But if you make it engaging and there's some, good conversation associated with it, then it'll keep people coming back. And then you can sprinkle in some promotional content. And if I was going to make a recommendation on that, I say it's about 60% educational, about 20% entertaining, and about 20%, about 30% entertaining and about 10% promotional. So that's how you can kind of divvy up and build your content plan. So 60, 30, 10. And then the next thing is make sure you're engaging, respond to people. When people connect with you on social media, that's it's not about pushing your crap out on social media. It's about when people say, hey, that's a great this, or, awesome video or great insight, awesome information. I learned a lot from you. Respond to them.
Absolutely.
Right. That's a huge one. And then when possible, here's the other thing. Don't try and be all things to all people in social media. And don't try and be in every social media platform. Determine the 1, 2, or 3 that make sense for you and your business. And if you're not doing any of them well, start with one and do it well. When you get that dialed in, maybe add a second and then a third. But you don't need to be everywhere. And once you've identified the ones that you are getting results from and you're connecting well in, then join the relevant groups within that platform. That's another thing that people miss out on. I know you and I are both in Arizona Small Business Owners and some other things like on LinkedIn, right? Those are good places to be, because the people that you're looking for that are looking for the things that you do are in those groups as well, right? So it gets you closer to where you want to be from a client engagement perspective. And then participate in conversations and build a community. What you do by being in those groups or commenting on other people's comments on people you follow. So you and I follow some people like Alex Hermosi and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I've picked up people following me by being on Alex's platform and other influencers like that, commenting on Alex's stuff. Somebody reads what I commented, and then they start, and I notice that I look a day or two later and I see that they're now following me.
Okay.
Right. So that's a way to build your people engagement level and get people following you. Hashtags are useful in certain platforms, not so much in LinkedIn, for instance, very minimal as it relates to LinkedIn. And I would say, I don't know this for certain for all the platforms, because as you know, I'm probably better versed on LinkedIn than the other ones. But there's a play there for some, but not for all. And make sure you do your due diligence. If you're going to use any one of the platforms, identify what the hashtag strategies are for that. And then the last thing is collaborations. Collaborations are a huge way to be able to partner with other businesses or other influencers within your space where you can benefit. And quite honestly, your Here's the Deal show and the Biz Coach show, right? There's a collaboration between the two of us. We're connecting. Right. You're actually producing on our show here, right? And then you're doing your own show at the same time, or you even shared interviewees. Yes,
absolutely.
Right, that have been on the show. Sometimes they make a good fit for you, make a good fit for me as well. And it's a great opportunity to do that as also. So look for those collaborations, because if you can find people that have bigger followings as it relates to your social media platform, you can actually incorporate those and bring those followers with you, right? And pick them up from other people. So that's a big piece about social media and leveraging that organic content. And remember, there's no cost to this. You may pay for a program that helps you improve your profile, but you don't need to. Most of the information is available. As a matter of fact, there's some free tools right in LinkedIn, for instance, that'll tell you exactly how you want to build out your profile for LinkedIn. Now, there's some other tips and tricks you can pick up, and we even talk about some of that on the show. But the reality is, it doesn't need to be expensive, and it's a really great way for you to test strategies that you have for your marketing.
Yeah, except for, like I said, I got like 6,000 followers on LinkedIn, and they're not all seeing it until I start, paying to boost the particular posts and things like that. But
yeah, but you are getting traction though, because you picked up followers even without paying to do anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna keep grassroots, man. I'm gonna ground and pound on this thing.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so the second one is, where are we at on the second one?
Okay, so we're going to talk about building an email list and running campaigns, which is something that I sorely lack at. I'm going to be just dead honest with you, Coach. You may have to give me a little instruction on this one, because I'm pretty bad about this.
All right. So here's the thing. The most important thing to remember about running an email campaign is to identify the fact that so if social media is good, having an email base is even better. Because in social media, we don't control that database, and there's certain things you can do to extract that database and be able to engage with them, but it's under the platform's control. With an email base, with our own email list, we control that email list. And I will tell you, there are a number of influencers and people in small business, depending on what they specifically do as their service, they can make a living just on email database.
Really?
Right. They literally just make a living on their email database because it's a high ticket program that they make a fair amount of money and only need a handful of sales per month to really maintain the lifestyle they want, or they can constantly remarket new solutions to existing clients. And the one thing that we know about marketing is that buyers buy. People who buy a product will typically buy multiple products from the right person, as long as it's quality product, it's providing resources, good information, and it's giving me real value that I can see and manifest in my business or whatever. So the truth of the matter is, it's a huge opportunity that a lot of people miss on. I would say, so we've had 63 clients in 5 years and 4 months. 63 clients, I will say at least 50-ish had not marketed to their existing client base in the better part of at least 2 years, maybe longer.
Okay.
So of all the clients in the last 5 years, one of the conversations we ask in the onboarding conversation is, when was the last time you marketed your existing customer base? And at least 50-ish, somewhere in that range, said, not only did I not do it in the last year or two, I haven't ever done it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So think about that from that perspective. So if I've got 63 clients, how many times have I marketed to those 63 clients? Theoretically, people from year 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? That could have bought additional products and solutions as we've added new services over the last 5 years.
So when we're saying this, like we are saying, hey, just put something on your calendar to do like a quarterly email, just to check in, things like that. Is that what we're talking about? Maybe something like,
combination,
or if you like, hey, if you have a new product or a new service or things like that, hey, just wanted to make you aware, we got this new thing coming out. You may want to take advantage of, okay, that I can understand that.
Yep.
That makes sense to me in a way, because like I know, and plus I was kind of sitting there thinking as we were talking, if it's an email from somebody I know, like if you send me an email, I'm going to read it. But I get, we all get spammed out just so many emails. People don't even know. It's like, dude, I don't know you. Go away.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if it's coming from somebody that you actually know and trust,
right.
Okay, yeah, okay, hey, yeah, Eric's emailed me. I better read this. All right,
yeah.
that makes a lot more sense to me now, because before I was always like, I hate getting emails from people, especially like LinkedIn. You go to connect with somebody, they go pitch slapping like right away.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, dude, I don't even know you yet. Why, you know what I mean? I can't stand that. But yeah,
right.
now you're making more sense to me now.
Yeah,
so you've already coached me, and we haven't even gone through the show yet. So that's how good of a coach you are.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the piece on this, right? And the reality is as you grow your client base, and remember, there's multiple ways you're going to get clients, right? In your case, you're bringing people on your show. Well, everybody that comes on your show should be going on a database.
Mm-hmm.
And you should be sending an email to them saying, hey, thanks for being on the show. It was great having you on. Right. And then you circle back to them, and we've talked about some marketing pieces like, hey, maybe you'd like to sponsor my show. Right.
I do that after every show.
There you go. And so then
thanks to you.
And then just keep adding to that. What's another way you could serve those particular individuals? What's another thing that you do that they may not be doing currently that you could incorporate or offer an added service or benefit to them? And it could be just a simple introduction, right? Or it could be something that you're familiar with, information that you're familiar with that they may not be, that you're just sharing, right? It could be a newsletter, right? I mean, there's a number of different ways that you're providing insight and guidance. Black Friday is right around the corner, right? We're getting ready to launch a Black Friday Cyber Monday promotion. And in that promotion, we have a really aggressive deal. And I'm not even going to tell what it's going to be, but it's a pretty aggressive deal, right? And we're going to launch that with our existing client base. So what we're going to do is we'll say, hey, look, you're an existing client. Matter of fact, I'm even going to go so far as the people who are currently paying a certain rate, depending on the service that they use, the rate that I'm going to do is cheaper than what they've been paying. I'm going to go ahead and let them get this new service at the lower price point. We're going to literally lower people's prices. Who does that?
Right. Yeah, no, that's different. That's definitely different.
But you're only getting it if you're on my email database.
Right.
Those are the people who are going to get the introduction to that offer.
Get the inside track. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. So a couple of key things there. Make sure you got really good value in your offer. Make sure that you segment your list. So for instance, in your case, for your list, you have people that have been on your show, and then you have other people that you engage with for other reasons, right? Let's say your lending business, right? So as you do the lending business, that's a different database than the people that have been on the show.
Correct.
And you want to maintain two separate lists, and you don't want stuff that you're sending people in your lending list to be the same people, not necessarily that you're sending to your show list, right? And there's two different things you might be doing there. Use free tools. There's a lot of great ones. You get MailChimp and MailerLite. There's some inexpensive solutions, and then there's other tools that are even better. Like Beehive is one of the ones that I've looked really intently at. I'm actually considering upgrading to Beehive, which is a newsletter email management tool that you might use. A lot of great ones out there. Here's the other thing. If you're going to do something, people are always concerned, and you kind of touched on this briefly. It was a different circumstance, but don't be afraid to send regular emails to your client base. As long as you're providing value. If you're not providing value, then don't be filling their inbox with a bunch of crap. But if you're providing real value, not an offer, right? Similarly, like kind of what we talked about social media, 60% of the time should be content, should be education, should be valuable information that's useful to me. 30% of the time could just be an update on what's going on in your world. Maybe it's even 70-20, right? Education and then updates. And then every once in a while, drop an offer in there. Right? When it's valuable, when it makes sense, when it's, but make sure that you have a schedule for that as well, and be doing it. Don't be afraid to send out weekly or bi-weekly. There's nothing wrong with that. And then the last one is make sure you test and optimize. Here's the thing that people miss the most on this, on all marketing strategies. When you experiment with your subject lines, right? We've talked about on here on the show before, we've talked about using headline analyzer was the software that you introduced me to, right? Test your subject lines, test your layouts of the newsletter or the email that you send out, and see which ones get the best results, and make sure that you're using hyperlinks in your content that you send out, so that when people click on the link and then it goes to a landing page or wherever, you can track that. And so, for instance, if you send out, let's say you have a database of, 300 people, and you send an email out to 300 people, and there's an offer in there. Maybe it's just to download a free ebook. But if you send out 330 people download the ebook and you get a 10% conversion just to download a free ebook, it shows that they were interested in that particular information, which now tells you that there's some real interest in that, which, by the way, 10% would be awesome. But in addition to that, you're now, something that actually triggers people and gets them to take action. The copy on that page worked, that link worked, it drew attention, right? And keep track of that information. Just put it in an Excel spreadsheet and track that data whenever you send out a new offer. And what that does is it helps you when you build your next ad copy, you can leverage that in what you're doing. But if you don't keep track of it, then you're never going to have the information.
Okay. That's like I said, it's all really good content right there, because that's something again, we're gonna get squared away on that one for sure.
We build on it. We'll build on it.
We're gonna build on it. All right. So point number 3, I want you to tap into the local SEO and Google My Business too.
Yeah.
So that's key.
Yeah, SEO is a new one. New one. SEO has been around for a long time, but there's a new development with SEO, and it has a lot to do with AI and leveraging AI SEO. And there are some companies out there. In the past, I've had clients that, I ask them about, what are you doing for ad spend? And they're like, well, I got this guy who's doing SEO for me and I'm spending $2,000 a month.
Wow.
I'm like, dude, that's crazy money. Unless you are number one in the best categories you could possibly be in, that's an awful lot of money. I had somebody actually spending $3,000 a month for SEO. Now, This is old school days. It was a little bit different then. But that's still a lot of money no matter what, especially, again, we're talking about small businesses, solopreneurs. You got a solopreneur dropping $3,000 on SEO. There's some better things you should be doing with that money. Right. So just be clear that's overkill. And particularly depending on what business you're in. So anyway, AI SEO has changed the mold there. You can actually get a lot more cost effective, but you do want to make sure you're with a company that actually knows what they're doing as it relates to AI SEO. The other piece of this is Google My Business, which everybody should be taking advantage of. And there's a lot of missed opportunity there. Google My Business, having a Google profile that's optimized and updated, which you're presenting your content on. So when you write your blogs on your newsletter, right, that same newsletter you emailed out to everybody should also be a blog post on your website, which should also be a post that you can put on your Google profile. So just like you would post on other social media, you post on your Google profile. That's going to get you more SEO, right? That in itself generates SEO for you.
Right.
In addition to that, when you write those blog posts on your Google profile, you can also you can put pictures on there, and you tag the pictures and make sure that you put information on the picture. So keywords on the tags for the pictures, that also enhances your SEO. So make sure that you're leveraging your Google profile. You'd be surprised how many people are not leveraging their Google profile for their businesses, if they even have one, which is crazy when you think about how big we know Google happens to be. And then the other piece I would add about Google profile is that you can actually make products. You can productize your services. So you can make a tab for a product, which now promotes your product as an SEO positioning, right, for your services. So let's say business coaching, for instance, it lists it on, and it puts it out there and actually will show up when people search it.
Okay.
So there's a lot that goes into that. We're not specialists on Google profiles, but what I'll tell you is many clients, particularly service-based businesses, doctors, dentists, lawyers, accountants, landscapers, HVAC, right? A lot of those people are not taking advantage of what they can get from the Google My Business profiles and how they can leverage that. So make sure that you claim your profile first and foremost as it relates to Google. Make sure you're adding content on a regular basis. Encourage reviews was the other big thing.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't have 25 to 50 reviews, and this is where we have a miss on us for the business coaching. I've got tons of happy clients. I've never taken the time to go and ask for the reviews and get them posted. And so I'm missing out on SEO content from that because that would generate more exposure. And what we do know is that people, this is very true in the service industry. People, when they go to make a decision about purchasing a service, will go and review your reviews.
True.
Right. And I mean, think about it. Think about a restaurant. You're going to go with the wife to go have brunch on Sunday morning. You're going to go and look at the reviews if you've never been there before and say, okay, is this place any good? Especially when you're traveling outside or going somewhere you've never gone before.
Right.
Right. There's a tendency
Absolutely.
to yep. So, and if you're going to get a garage door installer, you're probably going to Google that place before you go ahead and sign off on that deal.
That is true.
So, reviews are huge. And then when you're setting up your profile, make sure you use their effective keywords and use their directories if they have directories like Yelp and Angie and the Better Business Bureau. Those are all great assets.
Okay. That's what I said. That's something, again, Google profiles got to be up to date, got to be up to speed.
Yep.
Like I said, another check mark there. Make sure we get on top of that myself. now you're making me thinking about, take a look at that just to be sure. But I think it's maybe a little different for a podcast than it is for, but
yeah, there's less things that we can capitalize when we're home-based businesses because there's certain components of that. But if you're anywhere that you do service-based, if you can get your business set up correctly with your profile and leverage the reviews, that's your big factor.
Right. If you're a landscaper or HVAC, like I said, yeah, it's huge. Critical for sure. No doubt. What about, step number 4, you're talking about, host free webinars and live events.
Yeah. So here's the biggest thing. This kind of goes back to the first thing I opened with, which we were talking about video on social media and being able to leverage video. Yeah. Well, one of the things I referenced was we grew up at a time where infomercials were right.
Keep thinking about Suzanne Summers and
exactly. Yeah. So what was unique about all of those products is most of those things could not be sold in a 30-second commercial. But give me 10 or 15 minutes and I could go into all the benefits of this particular product or solution, right? I think about the blue blocker glasses, but they show the video multiple times, or like video, but the clip of, looking through the lens and look it with it, right? You can't do that in 15 to 30 seconds, not even in a minute. But you give me 10, 15 minutes where I can talk about it and have people come on and tell give their reviews or their successes or whatever. There's a lot of opportunity to do that in 10 or 15 minutes. So the point of that is that you can do the same thing with webinars and live events, right? A webinar is an informational solution, which those infomercials were information. It was also commercial, but it was information, right? They led with all this really good information. And the good ones really started with some contextual information. Like, here's why this is so important, right? That's what we do with webinars, right? When I do a webinar, let's say a couple of webinars we've done, we do goal setting, time management. We've had, we did those live actually. We've also done some AI training and things like that. All of those events and or webinars, whether it's a free solution, sometimes we do paid ones, but most of them are free. But the nice thing about a free one is people will come just to check out the information and learn more. Well, it's a great opportunity for you to show what you actually know. So if you can get 20 or 30 people to join you, and this is what we call selling one to many, right? If you're selling business coaching, let's just use that example. If I'm selling business coaching, I can go let's say I can have 3 Zoom calls a day, one-on-one. You and I connect, right? Then I connect with somebody else and I have 3 calls a day. If I had 30 people on a Zoom call doing a webinar, right?
Yep.
And I do 45 minutes of free information, then say, okay, if you'd like to learn more about how I could help your business, go ahead and schedule a call.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are the odds that I got 30 people in that call that I can convert 10 of those people into a conversation?
A lot better.
Right.
Yep.
And so again, doesn't cost me anything other than a little bit of time to set this up and drive traffic to it, which is, you can do that a number of different ways. Social media is one of those plays, but you drive people to it. And what you do is you build a topic. Now there's some keys on this. The topic has to be a sensitive point or like a pain point that your clients are struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get engagement. That's how you get people to sign up for the event. Like, wow. You might teach something. I could say business coaching. That's not what's going to get people to sign up.
No.
How do you get capital to build your business? That'll get some people to sign up,
Mm-hmm.
right? How to build business credit. That often gets me some engagement, right? Marketing, how to get more clients for less money. That will definitely get me some engagement. People will show up for that event, right? So having pain points that resonate with your clients is how you're going to get people on these webinars. Give some good quality information. And if you don't know enough, bring in a special guest.
Absolutely.
Right? Bring in a special guest who can share that information if you don't know enough about that topic. And then say, we partner together, split the deal, right? We'll both sell it together. There's a lot of different ways to play that, but you can use all the different, you can use Zoom, YouTube, you can use Instagram Live, you can use Facebook Live, right? There's all these different solutions that you can use for these platforms that don't cost anything. Then you just promote it. You put it out there. You can put it on email. You can put it in social media. You could put it in local community boards. You can go onto those groups, like you do a Facebook group. You can do some of the different software or the social media platforms have groups. LinkedIn has a bunch of groups. You can just post in there and say, hey, come check out my webinar about how to do cost-effective marketing. I guarantee you get people. Alignable is another one. You can go on there and you could post free stuff about free events and get people to come and check out your information. But if you could talk to 15 or 20 or 30 people, look, I'll tell you what, I've been on some of the groups in Alignable, and I've listened in on some of the free events that I've, just like, let me see what are people doing out there. And I've been on some of these groups and I'm like, ooh, man, there's some opportunity to get a little bit better about presentation.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the information's okay. It's not bad. It's not good. It's not crushing it, but the presentation was really lacking, and there was some opportunity. I mean, it's just like, it was what's the Charlie Brown?
Yeah.
It's the teacher from Charlie Brown. Wah, wah, wah,
Wah, wah,
yeah. And I'm like, but there's 25 people listening to this presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, imagine what a dynamic person could convert out of that, right? With somebody with some energy and some enthusiasm talking about a topic I want to learn on. So anyway, There's a lot of different ways you can leverage that. And then the last thing is make sure you're following up with those people. You email all your attendees, send them thank you messages, thanks for attending, and then send them the offer. I think that one of the best ways, I've heard people sell in the event, on the webinar. And I've heard, and we've personally done both. We've sold at the event, and we've also sold after the event.
Okay.
Personally, I would sell after the event.
Well, there's some point to, hey, strike while the iron's hot, man. While you got them, while you got the hook in them, you know what I mean? Well, hey, get them now.
Teaser out there. You put the teaser out there, and then send the offer afterwards. I think it has a lot to do with the personality. That is, I struggled with trying to really kind of raise the energy level and sell it on the stage. But that's what our experience has been. But I will tell you, people do both, and they get success both ways, right? So you have to do is identify works better for you.
Got to read the room. I mean, hey, you read the room. If you know, hey, like they're ready to roll right now, get them. If they're not, hey, you know what?
Yep.
Call me in a week. Yep.
Yeah. Well, and that's why it's so important to follow up, right? Because sometimes they just need some time to process that information. You can come back to it.
True. Absolutely. Well, so we've touched on this through the whole conversation, but now we're, like I said, point number 5 is about create valuable content for blogs and videos, which you talk about. Some people are struggling with some, again, it's it's been the theme throughout the entire show so far, is that
Right.
Content's king, and you got to get on video. It's because it's 2025, man.
That's right. It's right around the corner now. Yeah, it's so. And here's the thing. I would think so. Like the first thing it talks about is creating a blog. Here's the thing about blogs. There's still a fair percentage of people that read, right? There's still a large percentage, particularly people in the older demographic, right? The over 45, probably over 55. I still have a propensity to prefer to read before I'll watch video, depending on the video and depending on the person in the video. But it also depends on what the content and what I want, right? Like if it's a video and I can skip through it really fast and get to the point that I want to get to, then I'll do video. But if I want to absorb it and want to take it in, I want to read it. Like if I want to highlight notes and make it like an instructional guide to follow through and execute on something, I want to be able to read it.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on how you're sharing and what you're sharing. If you're sharing a high level tip, video is great. If you want a very step-by-step process to go through step 1, step 2, step 3, a printed version of that. And by the way, I can do both at the same time because I can make a video and then I can actually use AI to make a transcript. Exactly. And turn it into the actual step-by-step process. And then you can provide both, or for all intents and purposes, you can provide all three, because now you can also do an audio version of it. So just like we take our show and we turn it into not just a video on YouTube, but we also make it available on iTunes and Spotify and other platforms for just the audible section of it. Right. And then I can actually take the written text portion of it and turn it into some blog. So you get it however you want to get it. And if you make your content available for every way that somebody might want to receive it, you're going to get more followers. Right, just stands to reason. But you so again, I just talked about you can repurpose all that content. So here's a kicker. You're kind of leaning towards it, but here's the thing: if I do it in video once, I can turn it into text, and I can turn it into audible in an audible solution, and I can offer all three of those by doing it one time, one way.
That's true.
Right. So what a great way to actually maximize my return. Again, this is doing cost-effective things. How about time-wise? I can reduce the amount of time it takes me to make all my content. I could do one video a week that would create not only my video podcast, but my Audible podcast. And I can also create a blog post by one recording session. Let's say it takes me 30, 45 minutes and a little bit of editing, maybe an hour, hour and a half, and I can create all that content one time.
Now, let me ask you this question, because like I said, because, on Spotify, I just upload the entire video.
Yep.
So it's got the video and the audio. Obviously it's just like if I'm uploading it on YouTube or, whatever. So is that an issue, or should I put the audio link on there?
No, yeah. So when you do it on, a lot of things moving to video anyway, but there's still people that just want the audible version of it, right? The audio version of it. They just want the audio just so they can listen to it while on their phone while they're driving around or whatever, right?
Yeah, you can always hit play and listen to it. I mean, as far as that goes, but the video might be rolling, but you can still obviously hear the audio. Of course.
Yeah, there's still people that prefer and look for the podcasts that are audible podcasts where it's strictly audio, right? There's still people that look for that. So again, I would do it in all three. Okay. Right. And most of the software will take care of that. All you need to do is just make sure it's optimized for it, which is usually easy to do with the software that you use.
Well, yeah, no, I just throw, like I said, it goes right in there. You do the same thing. So it can even maybe do a video one and just do audio, just do two on the same one.
Exactly. Yep. And then you throw that last piece in there with the written blog, and now you've got it. One other thing I would say is that your content has to be high quality, right? You don't want to put a bunch of crap out there. Don't put out something out there that you're not familiar with, and don't speak to, or don't put stuff out there that you haven't corroborated. So if you're not certain, verify it, right? This is kind of goes back to the AI piece too. Certainly leverage AI to create ideas, and right, AI is great for creating new ideas and getting contextual, lists and things like that to give you reminders. Because you can actually ask it, hey, what's some of the most important things people are searching for as it relates to video content or, business coaching or landscaping? What are some of the most important questions people ask about landscaping? Make video content about that, and you'll actually begin to get people, reaching out to you saying, hey, I want to learn more. How do I get your services?
Yep.
right? Because let's say because you know a lot about plants and different types of plants and plants for your particular area of the state or the country that you live in, right? I wouldn't even thought about that, but like when we did landscaping in our yard, the guy knew all kinds of stuff about different plants that I would have never thought. I would have bought, and he even said, "Don't go to this place because they'll sell you plants that don't really actually work here, and they'll die, and you'll have them for 2 years and they'll be gone." I'm like, that's great feedback. I really appreciate that. You're hired.
Yeah, no doubt, right? So it comes to that, I can kill anything.
Yeah, exactly. So then the last thing is just remember, so make sure you put a call to action in those things, right? And the call to action could be sign up for the newsletter. The call to action could be check out more information on the website. The call to action could be, I've got an offer, look at my offer. Whatever that is, the call to action doesn't have to be a sale every time. It's a engagement, right? So it's how do I engage? The call to action could be join the show, right? Subscribe to get more information from the Biz Coach show. But whatever your call to action is, make sure it's there and it's pronounced and it's people know what your intention is, and then track your data. Another big thing. So track this data. Every component of this. If you're tracking the results from your webinars, if you're tracking the results from your newsletters, if you're going to get what's working and what's not working, and that allows you to make better decisions going forward of what some of the best results that you're getting for all the marketing activity you're doing.
It's a lot to take in, man.
Yeah. That's why we did it on video, so you can go back and listen to it again.
Go back and let's do it again and again and again. Exactly right, man.
That's right. And do it. And one thing I would say, kind of a pro tip, I said monitor and measure, but I would say in addition to that, do one thing at a time. We all went to school. I'm thinking I probably learned this in middle school in science class. Like when you do a test on something, the rule was never change more than one thing at a time when you're testing for something, so you can determine what's your baseline on your test. So, if I add this chemical and this chemical and I get this result, right? If I add a third chemical, then I get this result, right? But if I add two chemicals at the same time, I don't know what that end, right? Now I've messed up my base. So what you need to do is whatever you're doing, only work with one thing at a time and then add sequentially, right? Don't try and do a whole bunch of things. If you do too many things at once, you don't know what's actually working. Right. So start with your social media and do that. Get comfortable with that. Get familiar with that. Again, like I even said, one platform first, then move to the other platform. Another, not even the others, move to one other platform, then maybe a third platform, and then stay at some. You don't need to have everything out there. You just need the ones that are giving you impact. And if you realize one's working and two working and one isn't, drop the one that's not working.
Absolutely.
Right. Or be willing to commit more time and energy to, and it could be money too, but to learn how to get that third one if you really think it's worth it. And then, is it like the webinar, same thing, test the webinars, which platform's working, which one do I get the most engagement with? Like if I do Instagram live, I don't get nearly as much engagement as though I do LinkedIn live. Right. And so test those, figure out which one's working for you. But I think that's one of the biggest things that I see too many business owners, you get overwhelmed. One, right? Like this list of 5 could be overwhelming. Don't get overwhelmed. Yeah, yeah, it is. But don't get overwhelmed. Just figure, okay, what's the one that I'm most comfortable with, or I've seen people in my space do and get good results from. Do that one thing. Leverage that. Do that for a period and I say a period of time. Do it for a quarter. Do it for half a year. Get good at it. Right? I did LinkedIn for an entire, I would say a good 9 months before I started sharing my successes about it and then touting myself as somebody who actually even knew a little bit about LinkedIn. Hardly saying I'm a guru. I'm just saying, here's what worked for me.
Okay.
Right. But I did it for 9 months before I started. As a matter of fact, when I first started sharing with people, I'm like, look, I've been doing it for 5-6 months. Do not take this as coaching. This is just me sharing my insight. And they appreciated that and they respected that. Right. And then as I got more and more confident from the results, I'm like, okay, I'm going to share a little bit more and a little bit more. But that got me a whole new base of clients to follow me and pay attention to what I was talking about.
But don't you think too, like I said, people are kind of hesitant on going on video things like, because all the influencers that when I was starting the podcast, like I said, all I was doing was watching these YouTube content, influencers and things like that, like Think and everything. They're like, hey, you know what? Just hit the button. Just
Yep.
push the damn button.
Yep.
And keep doing it every week consistent. That was the consistency was their key. And
Yep.
they're like, just hit the button,
Yep.
because you're going to get more and more comfortable with it. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Especially if you're in a space that you're an expert in your field. Like I said, the content, what you're talking about. Just hit the button and be consistent with it.
Yep. Yeah. Great point. That's a great piece to add or to finish with, is literally just get started. Whatever it is out of those 5 things, pick one and do it. And then do it consistently for a period of time until you get comfortable with it. And then you'll begin to come up with your own ideas on what works and what doesn't work. Don't go off of what I'm saying is as gold, right? Because it may or may not work as well for your business. But what I am saying is a lot of these things are tried, true, and proven by others, right? So, or myself, most of the stuff is stuff that I've done, at least to some degree or another. So what I would say is this is what worked for me. So what I would challenge you to say is, okay, look, go test it and try it for yourself and then find out what works for you. But don't ever take anybody's, like this is the gospel. This is the only thing that works. No, it's never like that. No. Every business is different. Every owner is different. Every scenario is different. Every offer can be different, right? So you test it until you find something that works. And then when you find something that works, run it, baby. Right. Just keep going.
Just keep going, and I think that's the other thing too. And like I said, it's, when I try to, when I'm talking to people, I'm trying, coach them and things like that. It's like, hey, you know what? There's a lot of business coaches out there. Okay. There's a lot of podcasts out there. Okay. But you know what? You're one of one. Okay.
Right.
You are the original. Nobody's going to come at it from your slant. Nobody's going to come at it from your angle. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to be, like I'm not trying to be, I'm saying? I'm not trying to be like Sean Hannity or like, Joe Rogan, or more like Joe Rogan than I am Sean Hannity. But it's, but you know what I mean? It's like, just do you. Because like I said, there's a lot of business coaches out there, but it's your particular angle, it's your particular slant, it's your background, it's your experience. Like, you've written books and you've made $100 million revenue companies, things like that, which not a lot of these business coaches can say, you know what I mean? But you are the one of one. Okay. So just keep pushing, just push through it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Great point. And like I said, that's a great point to land, because at the end of the day, I had a young lady, she sold health insurance, and I may have shared this. I know I've shared this before on the show, but she was selling health insurance and she was struggling with scaling the business. And she said to me, she was actually getting deals. She was closing deals every month from doing TikTok videos. And this is shortly after I'd gotten the insight that I got about TikTok, which is what I shared with you. Right. And this is going back about a year and a half. And that I learned that information. And then it was about a year ago that I engaged with this young lady, and she was telling me about how she was having success on TikTok. And I'm like, I was encouraged. I'm like, you got to tell me more. Right. Because I haven't had any success with it. Right. And I was like, I put a video and I got like 300 views. And I'm like, well, that's way more views than I got on my Facebook page. That's for darn sure. So I'm kind of curious. Right. So she's like, no, I get, thousands of views. And she goes, and they convert, they'll send me a message and say, tell me more. I want to sign up. And I'm like, well, how many do you get a month? And, it's the high ticket transaction. She's not making a ton of money, but she's making, a good chunk of money, right? Enough where 7 to 10 sales a month is a good living for her. And she's like, I'm getting 3 to 5 a month from TikTok.
Nice.
I'm like, I'd be doubling down on my TikTok skills.
Yeah. Right.
And she wasn't even making a video a day. I'm like, really? On TikTok, you could get away with 3 to 5 videos a day.
Right.
Right. And then you could recycle them every 60, 90 days. I'm like, I would be, that would be my infomercial that I would run, and I would run it every hour if I could.
You're getting those kind of results, man. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. If you're getting sales from it and you're doing it every third day, I'd be doing it 3 times a day. And if that didn't push the needle from 4 to 10 sales, then I'd be like, okay, well, what do I need to do differently? But if it did push the sales from 4 to 10 by doing it 3 times a day, I'm like, well, then what would it mean if I did it 6 times a day?
6 times a day.
Right? I'm like, I don't know. I think, but that's where the whole testing really kind of come, monitor and measure and continue to test it. But then if you can see that growth, and then okay, now let's say 6 didn't make any difference in 3. Okay, well, keep the 3, but guess what you can do with all that video content you created?
Repurpose it.
You could go post it on LinkedIn, right? I can repurpose it on LinkedIn. I can put it on Facebook. Well, what if I can get 2 or 3 sales more from the same videos I already created on another platform?
Correct.
Right. But to your point, it all starts with you just push the damn button.
That's it.
Right. Give it a shot, put it out there, see what happens, see where it goes, and go from there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I said, once again, Coach, I think you definitely hit it out of the park with this one. There's a lot of good content on here. We're going to have to kind of keep going back and rewind. And okay, let's watch that part one more time.
Yeah, we got to go edit and pull all the reels out of this.
There it is. Absolutely. Got to, like, say, hey, but it's like I said, it's out there. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Keep pushing it out there. Keep pushing it out there. The consistency is the key. Just like we talked about, man.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to end the show with there, boss?
No, just keep an eye out for our Black Friday promotion, Black Friday, Cyber Sunday promotions coming up. It will come out on Black Friday morning. So be looking for that. We're excited to put it out there. We'll get a great promotion for those solopreneurs, small business owners. Maybe you don't quite have the budget for coaching, or at least you don't think you do. We're going to make it so you can. So take a look at what's coming, and excited to be able to put that out there and help some of those small business owners be able to scale their business.
All right. That's awesome, Coach. That's awesome, man.
Thanks,
Once again, thank you for dropping the knowledge on us, man. And like I said, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, and see you again next week, man.
Absolutely. You got to save some, was it raviolis?
Yep. Handmade raviolis.
Raviolis for me.
You want me to save some? Are you nuts? Good luck with that, right?
All right. Man.
I would get murdered.
Yeah. Enjoy your holiday. Thanks again,
you
Chris.
too, brother. Talk to you later.
Bye.